When Daniel Ross offered $1,000 for the old garage, people laughed. Not politely. Not secretly. They laughed out loud. The building was a disaster. The roof leaked. The office windows were cracked. Half the equipment didn't work. The parking lot looked like it had lost a fight with 20 winters. And sitting on the edge of town, surrounded by abandoned warehouses, it was considered worthless. Which was exactly why CEO Rebecca Sterling wanted it gone. The property had belonged to one of her company's failed acquisitions. For years it sat empty. Generating taxes. Generating maintenance costs. Generating headaches. Nothing else. When Daniel showed up asking to buy it, Rebecca thought he was joking. Then he placed 10 $100 bills on her desk. And said, "It's everything I have." That got her attention. Rebecca studied him carefully. Mid-30s. Work boots. Grease under his fingernails. A single dad according to the paperwork. Former mechanic. No investors. No partners. No business degree. Nothing suggesting he could transform a failing property. Then she asked the obvious question. "What exactly do you plan to do with it?" Daniel smiled. The kind of smile people wear when they see possibilities nobody else sees. Fix cars. Rebecca almost laughed. The town already had 6 repair shops. Several were struggling. One had recently gone bankrupt. This wasn't a promising industry. Then Daniel added. And help people. That was somehow an even stranger answer. 3 days later, the deal was signed. The executives celebrated. They'd unloaded a liability. Rebecca barely thought about it afterward. Why would she? She ran a multi-billion-dollar manufacturing company. She had larger problems. Important problems. Global problems. An old garage didn't make the list. Meanwhile, Daniel got to work. Immediately. The first week he repaired the roof himself. The second week he painted the walls. The third week he rebuilt equipment from discarded parts. Every dollar mattered. Every nail mattered. Every customer mattered. Especially because there weren't many customers. At first. Then something unusual happened. A woman arrived with a broken transmission. 3 other repair shops had quoted her more than she could afford. Daniel fixed it for half the price. Not because it was good business. Because she needed help. The woman told friends. Those friends told coworkers. The coworkers told neighbors. And slowly the garage became busy. Then busier. Then packed. Daniel had one simple rule. A rule posted above the front desk. If you're honest with us, we'll be honest with you. Customers loved it. Because Daniel actually showed them damaged parts. Explained repairs. Admitted when work wasn't necessary. In an industry where trust was rare, honesty became his advantage. 3 months later, something else happened. A single mother arrived crying. Her car had died. She needed it to get to work. Without it, she'd lose her job. The repair cost exceeded what she had. Most businesses would have apologized. Daniel fixed the car anyway. Payment plan. No interest. No pressure. Just trust. The story spread online. Then exploded. Within weeks, people were driving from neighboring cities. Not because the garage was the cheapest. Because they trusted it. Trust became reputation. Reputation became growth. Growth became opportunity. 6 months after buying the junk garage, Daniel stood in the same office where he'd signed the purchase papers. Except now things looked different. Very different. 3 new service bays. 20 employees. A waiting list. Profits beyond anything he'd imagined. Then his phone rang. The caller ID surprised him. Rebecca Sterling. The CEO. Daniel answered. Hello? Rebecca sounded amused. How's the garage? Daniel laughed. Still standing. That's impressive. She paused. Then added. I drove by yesterday. Daniel smiled. The parking lot had been full. Cars everywhere. Customers everywhere. Life everywhere. Then Rebecca said something unexpected. I owe you an apology. Daniel frowned. For what? A long silence followed. Then. When you bought that property. She hesitated. I thought you were making a terrible mistake. Daniel laughed. Reasonable. No. Her voice softened. I underestimated you. 2 days later, Rebecca visited the garage in person. The moment she arrived, she knew something unusual was happening. Customers knew employees by name. Employees knew customers by name. The atmosphere felt less like a business and more like a community. Then she noticed a bulletin board. Covered with photographs. Families. Vehicles. Handwritten thank you notes. Stories. Hundreds of them. Rebecca stopped. One note caught her attention. It read. You fixed my car when I couldn't pay. Because of that, I kept my job. Because I kept my job, I kept my apartment. Thank you. Rebecca stared at the note for a long time. Because that wasn't a repair. That was a life. Then she found Daniel working beneath a truck. Exactly where he'd always wanted to be. He rolled out on a mechanic's creeper. Wiped his hands. And smiled. Welcome back. Rebecca looked around. Still stunned. How did you do this? Daniel glanced across the garage floor. At the employees. The customers. The community. Then he shrugged. One person at a time. The simplicity of the answer made her laugh. Then she asked. No secret formula? Nope. No brilliant business strategy? Daniel smiled. Treat people fairly. A pause. Turns out that's surprisingly rare. Rebecca couldn't argue. Because standing in that garage, she realized something important. When she sold the property, she saw broken equipment. Daniel saw opportunity. She saw a failing asset. Daniel saw people. She saw what the garage was. Daniel saw what it could become. And that difference changed everything. Then Daniel handed her a framed photograph. Rebecca looked confused. What is this? The picture showed the garage 6 months earlier. Boarded windows. Peeling paint. Total disaster. At the bottom, a handwritten caption read. Best $1,000 I ever spent. For the first time in years, the billionaire CEO laughed until tears appeared in her eyes. Because somehow the single dad with $1,000 had turned the town's biggest joke into its biggest success.